the hour of 3 o'clock, having arrived, I'd like to call to order the Engineering and Equipment Committee meeting. Do we have any public comments?
No, we do not.
Then let's move right into the agenda here. Item number 1, fiscal year 22-23 Capital Improvement Program Q1 update.
Go ahead, Jason. You guys take it over. This will be presented by Ryan Morgan, our Capital Facilities Senior Engineer.
Oh, good.
Thank you, directors, for being here. I'm going to share my screen with you and take you through the CIP quarterly update for Q1 of fiscal year 22-23. Our website recently changed a little bit, so same functionality, but just a little bit different look. If you come to the home screen and go to departments, you come to the engineering tab on the left, and then you can open up the capital facilities COG and come to active capital improvement projects. These are where the quarterly updates are kept current, and all these thumbnails on the map take you to the different projects around the district. If you would just like to see a list view, you can click on the CIP project information, and that'll take you to a page where it just shows it listed out. And I'm going to just provide a few updates here on, first of all, the sewer lining and rehab 2022 project. The contractor is working on finishing cleaning of the gravity sewers that are in the project, and they're going to be in the roadways in November performing lining, and we anticipate the project will be completed in December. So that one's actually really close to being completed, and this will probably be the last quarterly update on this one before we bring it to the board for project acceptance, which you can probably expect probably January. The next one I wanted to touch on was Sage Canyon tank refurbishment. This project has been going on for a long time now, actually, since before summer. And we can report that we do anticipate construction completion in November, approximately November 22nd. So this is another project that the board can expect to come for project acceptance in the December or January timeframe. And this will probably be the last quarterly reporting on this one before that time. So those are two projects that are nearing the end of construction. And to just touch on a couple that are just starting construction, the first one I'd like to touch is the, I don't see it. 16-inch emergency bypass rehab project. Directors are familiar with this one. We brought it several times before, I think most recently for the CEQA action in front of the board, issuing an addendum to the PEIR. We are under contract with Burtech Construction, and we're planning to hold a kickoff meeting next week. We will start construction in November, and the estimated construction completion will take us to the summer of next year, 2023, roughly June, July. And this project will rehabilitate not only the emergency bypass pipeline, but it will also rehabilitate the neighboring fail-safe outfall that's in the same easement. And lastly, the Montiel Lift Station and Force Main Rehabilitation Project. Most recently, staff has been very busy working on property acquisitions to secure permanent and temporary construction easements to perform this project. Over time, the project scope on this one has increased beyond just a lift station rehabilitation. It's also extending the force main limits to past the Nordal Shopping Center, which actually benefits the district by absorbing a future CIP and a gravity capacity improvement project in that same area that would be otherwise a future project. We're also rehabilitating upstream gravity sewers that come into this lift station within this project too. So really improving a lot of gravity sewers, force main, and the lift station in the Montiel sewer basin. And that concludes the quarterly update for CIP. You're welcome to peruse the rest of these projects, and if you have any questions, I can take those at this time.
Any questions? Not for me. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 2, Astera satellite leak detection.
Yeah, I believe, is this going to be a combination of Jason and Eric, or Eric, Jason, is this just mainly Eric?
Eric will take it.
All right, so Eric Bennett, our asset management supervisor, will be presenting on this. Before he does, the committee may recall, and Director Elthar, you may recall from the Water Authority, the Astrea, the satellite detection program was kind of initiated through County Water Authority. So this is really an update on that process and what we found our systems, as far as whether it's lacking or what it discovered, so.
All right. Good afternoon, directors and engineering committee members. I'm here to report out on a project the district completed this year, the satellite leak detection with Astera. This project, as James just mentioned, was in collaboration with San Diego County Water Authority and 13 of its member agencies. The goal of this project was to use technology called synthetic aperture radar and proprietary algorithms from Astera, combined with the district's GIS, to perform scans of our system and detect moisture-laden soil, which could possibly be underground leaks that may have not surfaced. The technology, synthetic aperture radar, is different from forward-facing radar, the radar that we see on the Weather Channel. It uses radio waves to create an image by illuminating the ground, as compared to typical optics of a normal satellite, where that uses the sun to illuminate the ground. It's accomplished by pulsing radio waves down to the ground and measuring the range and the cross range. The range is the forward-facing, and the cross range is coming out from the side of the moving satellite as it crosses over. And it measures those signals as they bounce to the ground, bounce back from the ground up to the satellite. The benefits of this technology is that it can capture images at night through clouds and through smoke. And since it does not use the sun's light, it can be used in many different states of weather. The project consisted of using scans Astera already performed, which were then overlaid on a GIS layer. And from that, 118 points of interest were identified and ranked from high to low. After the points of interest were identified, and a subcontractor for Astera was assigned to investigate them using acoustic leak detection methods for over a 2-week period. This included sounding sections of pipe, each fitting attached to that pipe, and any other appurtenances in the area. As it relates to the findings, of the 118 points of interest investigated, 20 leaks were identified. Of the 20 leaks, 18 were on the customer side of the meter, and 2 were on the district side. Additionally, there were 3 locations that were labeled as unverifiable. District staff reviewed the findings and determined follow-up actions. The 2 leaks on the district side consisted of weeping fittings and a leaking angled meter stop, which have been corrected or are scheduled to be repaired. For the 18 leaks on the customer side, 10 were determined to be no action needed since no leak was physically found. 8 were determined to be on customer appurtenances. For those 8 leaks, our meter department followed up with the customers via door hangers and face-to-face interactions in efforts to notify the customers of the deficiencies. For the 3 unverifiable locations, our inspection department, their staff performed a more thorough site visit to look at the area and investigate for leaks, although none were found. So while the technology is promising, it did not detect a large number of leaks, and those it did, most were on the customer side of the meter and out of the district's ability to repair. And perhaps the minimal amount of leaks on the district's system is a testament to its integrity, but with the minimal actionable results, this go-around, staff cannot recommend utilizing these services on a routine basis. However, we do believe it is important to continue piloting emerging technology where practical and feasible to do so. And there's a spreadsheet submitted with the staff memo that lists the 20 points of interest.
I did have a question on the 18 leaks that were on the customer side. Were they in the high or low range category of leaks?
Most of them were low.
Low. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions?
No, just a comment,
Yeah, I read the
It
report.
seems like a lot of money, but I think it was very worthwhile
Yeah, you know,
just to test it out.
take a shot at it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a technology that we'll keep in. As our infrastructure ages or as we further develop our asset management program, we'll be looking at different things to implement and try out. And in this way, it'll be just another arrow in the quiver that staff could use that's much better than a destructive test or going out there and digging holes. So.
Have you heard of results from other agencies?
Most of the results that we've heard of were similar to ours.
Similar?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was doing this at a former agency, and it was pretty much exactly this. It was mostly some stuff on the customer side, some leaking fittings, nothing substantial, so.
Okay.
But it was good that we were able to get, the Water Authority was able to secure some grant funding, so that brought that cost down. So like James said, I think it's good to kind of keep it on the radar, no pun intended, see if it improves, see if we want to revisit this in another 3 years.
How about the Water Authority? I think they're using it on their facilities.
Yeah, I've talked to the Water Authority twice. I haven't seen their results yet. I believe they have them though, but I haven't seen them. My understanding is they're going to present it at a future board meeting. I don't know if that's already happened, or if you haven't seen it, they probably
I haven't
haven't.
seen it.
But the results may be similar, but you know, their infrastructure is quite a bit different, since they're just looking at, you know, larger infrastructure over larger swaths. So if they have a leak on a large pipe, it may be fairly more significant than a leak on an 8-inch
Might
pipe.
be easier to
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, detect.
And also the water loss in that leak is gonna be much more significant, so.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, very good. Let's go to item 3, Twin Oaks Valley Road Sub-Area Master Plan.
Good afternoon, Engineering Committee members. I'm Elizabeth Lopez, Senior Engineer of Development Services. We're here today to talk about Twin Oaks Valley Road Sub-Area Master Plan. This discussion is focused on the Twin Oaks Valley Road sewer north of Mission Road and the sewer sheds that are hatched here on this exhibit. Properties in these sewer sheds or these sewer basins are the properties served by the Twin Oaks Valley Road sewer that is the focus of today's discussion. Sorry. Zoom in a little bit more. So to provide a brief summary of the district's master plan, it's a growth document that identifies future water and wastewater demands based on the city's projected population increase in accordance with their general plan. The master plan does not identify existing deficiencies in the district's infrastructure, and the master plan identifies future capital improvement projects to district facilities and their funding sources to accommodate the city's projected growth. Our current master plan identifies this existing capital projects in Twin Oaks Valley Road, shown here on this exhibit. The yellow hatched line is an existing 8-inch diameter sewer, and our master plan identifies replacement of this with a 15-inch sewer main. The master plan identifies this as a developer-funded capital project with no funding from the district's capacity fund. It's identified in our master plan as a Phase 4 project, meaning that would be anticipated in construction after year 2030. Phase 4 is identified as years 2031 through 2045. This was identified as a Phase 4 project in our master plan because that was when the growth in this sewer basin was anticipated, and the primary growth in this basin was anticipated for the Newland Sierra project, and that was anticipated to be constructed in Phase 4 or after 2030. So in working with developers recently, there's 3 projects in this sewer basin that we've been working on. They're shown here on the exhibit. Working through the water and sewer studies for these 3 projects, we've determined that this existing sewer main in Twin Oaks Valley Road, identified with our capital project in the master plan, that it's over or at capacity right now with our current sewer connections. The studies determined that about 2.6 miles of existing 8, 10, and 12-inch sewer would need to be replaced with 10 and 15-inch sewer to accommodate current flows in the system and ultimate development within the basin. Staff is recommending that this capital project in our master plan be changed from a developer-funded CIP project to a district-funded CIP project so that we could build the sewer before phase 4, so before 2031. And staff's permanent solution to accomplish this is a sub-area master plan. So sub-area master plan is basically like a mini master plan focused on this sewer basin. It would determine how much capital facility fees would need to be increased to fund this as a district CIP project rather than a developer-funded CIP project. And this sub-area master plan would evaluate how we would adjust these capital facility fees. There's a couple of ways we could go about it. And that sub-area master plan would study whether or not those capital facility fees should be increased for just properties within the sewer basin or across all properties within the district limits. So next steps for staff, we would recommend we bring an estimated scope and fee to move forward for staff to start working on a sub-area master plan to bring that to Finance Committee. After that, we would bring a recommendation to the board for approval of a sub-area master plan budget, then hire a consultant to prepare the sub-area master plan and update the cap fee model. And then we would bring forth a recommendation to the board for capital facility fee adjustments, and then I would anticipate that at that point forward, Ryan's group, capital group, would start budgeting capital project to start designing a sewer replacement project. So today we're just looking for your support, or we kind of just wanted to brief you on update this and then get your support to move forward to Finance Committee as the next step with a scope and fee.
How many EDUs do the total project anticipate?
For the 3 projects we're working on right now,
Yes.
oh, so that's probably,
12 to 15.
yeah,
How many?
12 to 15,
12 or 15?
12 to 15.
Just to be clear, Director, that's for the existing 3 projects that are looking to come in, but the basin total hasn't been determined yet until we do the sub-area master plan. The other thing that we have to determine now that's changed since we've adopted our master plan is new ADU regulations. And the Twin Oaks Valley is our single area where the majority of the ADUs that we'll receive are most likely to come in. And there's some guidelines that the state allows within the Mitigation Fee Act now for us to estimate that and put that into our numbers, because that's not part of the adopted land use, but the land use agencies in the state have now allowed it.
Yeah.
So we could start estimating it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I've got a question. I'm a little bit confused. Are the existing lines at the end of their useful life?
I would anticipate not, but we have 2 parallel sewer mains in Twin Oaks Valley Road right now. So I think, adding a 3rd pipeline would probably be a challenge. So replacement in place would probably be ideal for construction.
The current flows in the lines are well above 50% full for sewer. They're more like 75% full during peak dry weather flows. That's not even during a storm event. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of that.
No, you're correct. We went through and working through these studies, we had operations staff go out and pop several manholes and measure flow depths. So on a Tuesday morning of the week around 9 a.m., we were hoping to catch peak dry weather flows. Not certain if we did, but some of the manholes we measured flow depths at 75% full.
Are they surcharging the manholes?
Not quite yet.
With rain, it probably could be, and our standard for this size pipeline is 50% full in peak wet weather, and those were dry weather flows.
So they're deficient capacity wise right now?
Yeah, so currently, so what we're looking at is there's supposed to be no growth according to the land use documents until post 2030. The biggest growth project in the area was Newland Sierra, which is obviously on hold, possibly indefinitely. And there's no projected growth into post-2030 anyway, but now we have projects starting to come in, and there's no capacity in the existing pipes to allow them.
But, I mean, in addition to no capacity, there's deficient capacity. I mean, it seems to me like it should still be a combination of replacement funding and.
Well, you're right. So at the end of the day, if the pipes go from, let's say, an 8-inch goes to 15-inch, the portion of replacement of the 8-inch will be coming out of replacement reserves.
Okay, that's what I was.
Yeah. While the 8 to 15 will be coming pure
Gotcha.
capital. So the
That-
whole
that
project.
wasn't clear to me. So,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry. The whole burden of the project won't be 100% capital.
Right, okay. Thank you.
And when do we anticipate this study being completed?
Well, I think we anticipate taking this to P3 committee in the next month or two.
Finance.
Sorry, finance, thank you. And then we need to hire a consultant after we get a budget approved, so I would anticipate maybe having a study approved in the next year. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, I think we can beat that, but we're
Yeah.
reaching out to the consultant now to get
Uh-huh.
that fee going.
And in the meantime, are these projects on hold, or they're continuing, just they haven't gotten that far to worry about it?
We're working on creative solutions.
Oh. Good, I like to hear that word.
Yeah.
All right,
What's the existing material, existing lines?
I know that, I believe both of them are VCP.
I think so.
Yeah, because I've worked on those pipes themselves when I first started here in 05, 06.
So the replacement would be PVC?
Yeah, that'd be anticipated replacing them with PVC. And the sizing is not yet fully determined because we haven't done the anticipation, especially with the ADU. And then hopefully we can get the new city's proposed land use from their general plan.
yeah,
'Cause
update.
we have it, but the city was supposed to adopt it, the land use portion, in September, but they decided to delay it indefinitely. I don't know, indefinitely is a little strong, delay it. So I'm trying to figure out when that is, because if they adopt the land use, even though the general plan's not done, then we have the rights to use that without being challenged.
They have determined the land use, they just haven't adopted it?
They've determined 2 variations of land use. They were going to go forward in September to adopt it because I sit as just a observer on the the General Plan Advisory Committee.
Uh-huh,
But then we got notification in early September that they elected not to move forward with that adoption at the city council.
right,
But
right.
no explanation why.
Election, that's why.
What a
They didn't
coincidence.
say
They
that.
didn't say that, did they?
So.
All right,
So unfortunately, though, the GPAC is on hold until after the holidays.
yeah,
So
and of
we won't
course, we're interested in that because of our Hilltop project.
Yep.
So, we'll be interested and see where that goes.
So-
All right, any further questions, Anna?
Do you
Doc,
need-
information?
Do you need us to express support for this? Or?
Yeah, just basically,
Oh, yeah.
our next step is really, when we get the scope and fee, we'd like to go to committee and say we presented this to engineering committee for the concept of what we're doing, and then now we need to create a budget, because we don't have a budget to do this work at this point.
When the consultant upgrades the capacity fee for this area, would that upgrade anticipate for the whole district?
Those are the options they're gonna give us.
Ah.
They're either gonna give us a fee increase for just that basin,
Mm-hmm.
or spread it out, which historically, that's what we've done here.
Yes.
So we would have those 2 options. We would bring a recommendation to the finance committee and
And to the full board at the end of the day.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Anything further?
I'm supportive. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you.
All right. Any other business?
No?
Seeing none, let's go home.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.